I mean, welcome back, Coach Mangini. I'm just befuddled by that sound because to me it reeks of sort of an optimistic desperation where initially it was 8 to 10 weeks and all of a sudden, hey, within 4 weeks, Dak is back. I thought it was very strange. And I dabble a little bit in orthopedics now. Yeah. What was your reaction to the sound, Coach?
Well, we never want to talk about injury timetables with the guys because everybody heals differently, and if you get into timetables, you can prolong things.
That makes sense.
But the idea of saying we're not being optimistic, the surgery is great. Here's the other thing I'll say: we never had a player come out of a surgery where the surgeons said,
"Butchered him.
Hey, that went badly. I did a bad job." They all come out and they're like, "Oh my God, that was an unbelievable surgery. He looks great. Everything should be perfect," and that's what they tell you. And then you're hopeful that that's the case, but I never ever had a surgeon say, "Yeah, that wasn't very good."
Listen, I want to make this clear. I flatly don't believe this.
Oh.
I think this is trying to win a news cycle, and as far as
why would he have to win a news cycle?
No, like
he owns
he's
the
keeping
team.
the fans' optimism and hope, and he is sacrificing a roster spot for 4 weeks for it. I think it's insane. In order for this to be the right call, Dak needs to play by October 9th against the Rams. That is 27 days away. He just had surgery on his throwing hand. And I understand that we sometimes maybe undervalue the importance of every single one of those, 53 guys on your active roster. But I know you coaches, you guys stress about who's going to be up for game day, who's not, are we going to carry one extra linebacker, one extra receiver? And now, I think purely so, shows like this and others keep the Cowboys in the conversation. They are keeping him on the active roster. The reason they have to talk about it, Coach, is because they're not putting him on IR. But that's making a decision.
But the 53-man roster is a little bit different now with the 16-man practice squad, with the way that they let you navigate players going up and players going down, veterans on the practice. So it's a little bit different from that perspective. And if you keep them off of IR and you can get them some reps earlier, you feel like that has some value. I understand where he's coming from, just because the roster formulation and mechanics now is a bit different.
Now, look, it's being reported, and granted, a reporter might be being lied to, all right, to get a certain story out there. But it's being reported in the Dallas Morning News that the type of fracture that he has is less severe than they expected. And that's why the timeline dropped from 6 to 8 weeks to 4 to 6 weeks. So I don't know if that's true, if they're just putting it out there, but I'll assume it's true. I think, Coach, this not only keeps fans optimistic, but it keeps your locker room optimistic. Now you've got the veteran players who aren't giving up on this season like most pundits are, saying, okay, he'll be back in 4 weeks, 5 weeks. Let's keep this thing rolling until then. We don't have as long to go. Now it's not 8 weeks, it's 4 weeks that we have to keep the ship afloat. So I think that works for him too.
But Chris, in the locker room, the players talk, and the players talk realistically, and it's a lot harder to hide information from veteran players who have a relationship with Dak than it is to maybe conceal some things from the outside world.
Well, don't you think Dak is definitely like, I want to get out there? I mean, we saw Russell Wilson come back, miss 3 games.
That didn't work.
I'm just saying, though, Dak is probably looking at that like, okay, he came back in 3 games. That's what he wants to do. I'm sure Dak is like, I've been hurt too much recently. I want to get out there as soon as I can. He don't want to give up this season.
And I understand that, and that may be the case. And a injured Dak could be better than the alternative. So that could be what they're thinking too, is even if he's not 100%, 90%, 80%, he's still better than what they're playing for. So that could be the angle as well.
I hate that. I mean, Robert Saleh was out there when they made the call to go to Flacco, and he specifically said, hey, you know what? We want Zach at 110%, which I thought was like, oh, good. Get him back even better than he normally is. But I don't know what you're doing. You're putting extra pressure on Dak to come back maybe a little bit too soon. And I also think it hurts Cooper Rush. If you're really going to ride with Cooper Rush and be like, all right, like that, but then if Dak's back with 70% with a cast on his hand, he's better than you.
But hold on. This is not Dak Prescott with a sprained MCL, where it's like, all right, we rush him back a bit. We're going to have to change the playbook a bit, not do rollouts, not do bootlegs, but he can throw the ball. He 24 hours ago, he went under the knife on his throwing hand and had surgery. The idea that he is going to play a football game less than 4 weeks later against Aaron Donald is insanity. It's not happening.
Also, he's like going to spend that week leading up to practicing.
He's got to practice, do all these things. It is just you make a great point that because of the way they've changed some things, the roster spots maybe aren't quite as precious as they once were, but they're still valuable. There's still a reason to them, and there's also the reason the NFL changed the IR rules. So you can put a guy on IR, then take him off. They changed a couple times. Is for this exact type of situation. So, okay, don't waste a roster spot on a guy for a month, but he can come back and his season's not over. It's not even halfway over. This is bananas. And I truly believe the only team in the league that would do this is the one owned by Jerry Jones. Because I think he's the only one when making these types of decisions. Some of it has to be, part of the math is, that weekly hit with Sean and RJ on 105.3 The Fan. This is gonna go over great.
Do you really think that as the owner, the greatest thing about being the owner of the team is you can't get fired. It doesn't matter what the media says about you. You can't. That matters to head coaches. That matters to GMs. That matters to team presidents.
What matters to Jerry
it doesn't matter to ownership.
And he's flying Stephen A. in his own team chopper for shows. He's doing weekly radio hits. He cares about the news cycles. And this is a win of a news. Yesterday, everyone killed the Cowboys season over. Today, what's the topic on the shows? Oh! Did we write off the Cowboys too soon?
Oh, we're back.
Oh, boy. Don't worry about Cooper Rush.
Well, the season's still over.
I agree.
There's no doubt about that.
He's back. He's back for the rim.
Yeah, all right.
All right, Coach, let our audience in behind the curtain. We went to our conference room this afternoon, and Dusty had a full-on, Dusty, our team researcher sitting over there, had a full tinfoil hat on. And I said, Dusty, why do you have your tinfoil hat on? He said, I've got a theory about the Cowboys. I said, okay, let me hear it. He's claiming, tinfoil hat now, that this is out there to sort of let everybody know, like, you know what? We don't really need Jimmy G. You know, we're going to be okay.
To try to get a better deal for
yes.
Jimmy?
Are you giving any credence to that whatsoever?
I would give that more credence than to the theory that he's doing it just for the news, because if everybody knows you desperately need someone, then they sit back and they increase the price. If you can take that steam down a little bit and say, it's only going to be a short-term situation, there could be some merit to that. That has more credence to me than the idea that he has to win.
You're saying Dusty's take's better than mine?
I'm saying that you need a tinfoil hat.
Appreciate that.
Can we get him a tinfoil hat?
Dusty's take better than mine. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.